Sure. Hello all, welcome to Robinsive Training. It's a continued video for the course Advanced Network Exploitation Expert. Myself, Rikun Sindwad, and I will be your instructor for this entire journey. I hold over 5 years of experience in cybersecurity. I'm a red teamer at work. I also do security researcher and hold multiple CVs. Couple of articles are published over Pen Test Magazine, OSCP, OSW, and OSCP certified from Offensive Security. The course Advanced Network Exploitation Expert helps you to build core knowledge against network security and penetration testing. It is designed for everyone with the basic understanding for the cybersecurity domain, like basic networking and the basic pen testing things. An example would be anyone with the knowledge of CEH. Post completion of the course, you will able to gain core concept understanding over various topics, perform internal or external penetration testing, perform extensive network assessment, find security misconfiguration within Active Directory environment, able to do privilege escalation over Windows and Linux machines, write automation scripts, and many more to go. Please read the disclaimer before moving ahead with the course content. In the last video, we have observed how, or we have learned how we can use PHP wrapper in order to read any source code. We managed to read a particular source code that contained password for the database. And once we have the database credential, we can of course connect to that particular database. And this is how I did. This can be also achieved by having SQL injection vulnerability. What I mean is, whatever the exploitation that I'm gonna come up with in next few minutes, that can be similarly executed through the SQL injection vulnerability. What, why, how, I'll explain each and everything. Just bear with a small time. So now as we logged into MySQL console with the database credential that we already had, we can identify the logs whether or not this particular MySQL is logging any activity or not. How we can identify? So that's pretty much simple. We can just show variables and it will going to show all the variables. However, we do not require all of those. I am more curious to know about variables like log. Of course, this log must be specified within the quotes. And here we go. The log says it's unable, and by default, MySQL stores logs in a particular directory. You can also go for %value, something like this. It will going to list entire variables that has a log in it. The log file, maybe you will come up with a directory where you will find the log file location. However, as I have not changed the default, this is not something visible here. But if you are working on a particular application and if you come across similar case, then yeah, this is another possible scenario. So now as this particular information says that logging is enabled, what I can do is I can just try to identify the log file. And log file default location is slash where, not the where of course, it's in the where log and mysql.log. This would be the default file that will going to be in your destination system. For the MySQL, all log related activities, all logs are being stored inside this particular directory where log. Let's verify very quickly by just connecting with the SSH. The password cd/var/log. Here we go. And this is where you'll find all the different log like Apache log, apt log, and whatever the installer, MySQL, Samba, FTP, whatnot. Most of the logs are being stored inside this directory. If you have access to write into those directories or files, then you can just write your files, load that files through the LFI, and you are good to go. What do I mean? Let me just show you in a bit. So I'll navigate to MySQL ls, and here MySQL log is set or configured here. So if I now try to load that particular file, let's say I want this file to be loaded, and how I can load. So select load underscore file, and I'm going to load this particular file. Just wanted to show you something. I can also read this file from here. Let's say cat mysql.log. So whatever you do execute through MySQL, that will going to be logged here. So there must be some error, but I'm not really looking for this load file function and any exploitation related to it. I'm just looking through, all right, my queries are successfully showing here. It's visible inside this particular file. So what I can give it a try, I can just write here saying that, hey, please select a particular string, and that string contained, let's say, please subscribe, and that's all. Now, if I try to read this particular file, this please subscribe has been successfully written. Now, if I try to load this particular file through PHP or this LFI vulnerability, if I be specific, so let's slash where slash log slash mysql dot log. That's correct. Let's give it a go. Okay, I need to log in one more time. Maybe session expires. No worries at all. Let me quick find. Here we go. And what I'm gonna do, I'll try to load that particular file, which is slash where slash log slash mysql slash mysql dot log. If I hit enter, it says something is wrong. Now, the thing that I want you to be aware is whenever MySQL is logging a particular log, it will not going to be accessible for anyone else in the particular system. What do I mean by? So if I now try to, let's say, list all the privileges for this particular file, mysql.log, ls-l, my bad. Here we go. What it says, the MySQL user will gonna have read and write access. The group ADM will gonna have read access, and the other will gonna have no access at all. Means this file cannot be readable by your web server too, because if you see -aux, this particular web server, Apache, Apache runs on this www data. This -k represent that I want to run this particular software through a daemon, and Apache daemon is this www data. Means this www data cannot read this particular file. But this is not in most of the case. Sometime you will find the log file is allowed to read to anyone, like they really modify the permission and whatnot. So what I'm gonna do, just for demonstration purpose, and this was something intended, I'm gonna quickly change the permission. So let's say I want other to have read access on this particular file, that is mysql.log. Let's hit enter. Now if I list the privileges, other will gonna able to read this file, and if I try to read this time, I'll gonna able to see that particular string, that is please subscribe. Perfect. Now as I can write my data there, what I'm gonna quickly do is I will going to add a PHP code. So I'll again search for, let's say, PHP one line shell. I'll go for the second link, copy this one line shell, paste it within that, make sure that you do not have any double apostrophe, and instead of this E, I'm gonna change it with the CMD. What it will gonna do, so it will gonna have this particular PHP code will going to echo the output of this particular function. Now this function will going to execute something. What it will gonna execute, so whatever I specify with the variable this parameter CMD, with the get parameter cmd, if I supply something, it will going to be executed. So let's give it a go. I'll just hit enter. This will gonna be logged in this particular file. So if I try to read, let's just use tail this time. Here we go. This is where. Now, if I reload the same file, I don't see anything as such because PHP will going to be evaluated. And as it is evaluated, what I'm gonna do, I'll just add another parameter here and cmd equals to who am I? And you will notice that query select www data instead of select whatever it was, it now it prints www data. If I change it to something like let's say ID, here we go. We get this response back. Now we can have command execution in this particular case. So not just this MySQL, FTP, SSH and other can be also logging some of the activity. So if you got access to that, if you don't have even access to, and if they are logging, let's say authentication log, failed login attempt and whatnot, you can write that file. You can just inject your whatever the query is and that will gonna be executed whenever your LFI loads a particular file. This can be exploited in various ways, but this was the one case that I wanted to show you. In the next case, we will going to use different technique using the MySQL itself, and that will be quite easier and there won't be any restriction at all. So that's it for today. That's it for this video. We're going to see you next time. If you have any suggestion, improvements or anything for me, you can comment below. And yeah, that's it. That's all. See you next time.